Hey, Dead Gamer here. Making this video just to kind of talk about the announcement. I know I'm a little late to the tardy to the party for the Adepticon stuff. They had mentioned, I guess, earlier this week was Adepticon or last weekend. I'm not sure. I think it was Tuesday or something like that. But it's March 23rd, so 2018, and I'm sporting my Conan O'Brien haircut. I need to go get my hair cut because it's like naturally does this wavy, crazy thing. So anyway, yeah, my hair is dirty. I know. Um, so I wanted to make a video and kind of talk about my thoughts about some of the stuff I saw with the release that they were talking. I didn't go to Adepticon, but I watched the Vince Venturella show, the Warhammer Weekly, and they did a sort of a special on it. I guess it was on Wednesday because they did a this just happened kind of thing. So they talked about all the things they saw, and also on the Warhammer community page, there was a lot of information there. Some new Titan stuff coming out. Plastic Sisters of Battle was mentioned. Some Shadespire stuff. I'm trying to remember it all. Oh, the new Deepkin army, the Fishmen, I guess. I don't think that's really the Fishmen. I think the Fishmen are still coming, and it's going to be Beast Fishmen, because the world needs Beast Fishmen to fight against the Fishmen elves, because the Wood Elves had the Beastmen, the Fishmen, the Fish Elves have the Fishmen. Yeah. But that's not what this video is about. This video is about Warhammer Legends, and that's probably, out of all those things that were revealed, that is the thing I am most excited about. And that sounds kind of weird because it's sort of archaic, I guess. It's not really, you're not going to be seeing anything new coming from it in regards to models. But I guess the limitations of that is your own creativity, right? So I'm excited because it's a little backstory, I guess. This video is going to be God knows how long, so I guess pick out some models to work on and enjoy, because I've got my soda water. I'm not drinking right now. I'm going through a stage where I'm gonna be gone the next 4 weeks. I'm going to a training for work, and that whole time I'll be just basically focusing on not dying. And yeah, I got to be on sharp. So no alcohol for me for a while, which is very, very sad, but it is what it is. Maybe I'll lose a couple pounds. Can't go wrong with that. So I'm drinking a lot of soda water because I still need my bubbles. Anyway, I told you this video is going to be boring as shit. So pull out your paints and your whatever, your little hobby stuff, or, nail polish and your toes. Do your toes. I know some of you, yeah, well, anyway. I was going to go into a couple of my buddies still paint their nails, which is pretty hilarious to me. But we're in our late 30s, early 40s, and some of us aren't. Must be nice to live in that world, but I don't live in that world anymore. I live in a boring ass adult world. Gah! Tangent. Okay. We're talking about Age of Sigmar. More importantly, Warhammer Legends. And what that is, if anyone doesn't know and they're still watching this video because I've been rambling about nothing, is Games Workshop basically said that we're going to go, and this is based off of what I read on the community page, which wasn't a lot, and what I picked up from the Warhammer Weekly show with Vince and Tom. So it sounds like Warhammer Legends is going to be, they're going to go back and they're going to review and redo or modify or tweak the rules to actually bring some of the to make it more realistic in terms of how it used to be. A lot of, I think, when they went to Age of Sigmar, a lot of people sort of got castrated in a lot of regards, because the heroes weren't as badass as they were back in the day, kind of thing, in 8th edition. Not that I ever played 8th edition, and we'll talk about that too. But I don't know where to start exactly. I guess I was gonna do backstory, and then I started talking about something else. Oh, not dying at work. So, backstory. I've been in this hobby since the late 80s, and Space Hulk was my first game I picked up. My dad bought it for me for Christmas. It was awesome. Actually, no, it was Hero Quest. But that's not really a Games Workshop. It is a Games Workshop game, but it's not a Games Workshop game. But my first Games Workshop game was Space Hulk, which I got for my birthday in 1989. It's pretty badass. And I've been playing that, and I really like 40K's aesthetic. I like the look of the future. I like that kind of it's gone through its stages, and I toggle between them. I have a second edition. Well, I have some of it still, but second edition Orc Army. That the orcs back then were Rogue Trader, were a little more serious. Second Ed got a little cartoony in regards to when all the orcs had their own little factions and things, but and then they kind of went back to serious in third edition. After Gorka Morka, I think that was sort of their experimental transition. Yeah, let's not do this again. Sort of time with the orcs, because the orcs in Gorka Morka, especially the plastic boys, if you ever saw them, were pretty garbage, in my opinion. I mean, they're good models for if you use them for youths, which are the young orcs. So in the game, now I'm going on another tangent. In Gorka Morka, you have your warband, you have your knob, and then you have your boys, and then you have your youths. And your youths are young orcs that are going to grow up and be orcs, basically. If you're a fantasy player, it's sort of the equivalent of regular orcs versus black orcs. Black orcs are just older, regular orcs. At least that's what my understanding is. Because, again, I never played Warhammer Fantasy Battles. And that's part of this whole story, and we're 6 minutes into it. 7 minutes, oh my god. This is going to be a long video. So I like the 40K aesthetic overall, and they've gone sort of up and down with some of the races, but now I think they've kind of hit this is what we want this world to look like, and I'm completely fine with it. I've got my Gene Stealer cult back, so that's really what I care about, and that makes me super happy. And everything else, I'll just kind of roll with it. The new Nurgle stuff looks cool. It's a little too demony for me in terms of just the Marines, but whatever. I'm not going to be going on that because this is not what this video is about. But then we had Warhammer Fantasy. And in the 90s, I loved the look of Warhammer Fantasy. I loved the feel of that world. And I liked everything about it. I just never caught on to the whole regiments moving the blocks, and that was my biggest thing, where that people were moving these blocks around. I didn't understand it. I liked more running around and being able to loosely position my guys within a 2-inch coherency. That's a 40K thing, and I think it's at least at the time it's gone. I think it's changed, but whatever. Not gonna talk about that. But I just couldn't get into the game itself. And then in the mid-late 90s, Mordheim came out, and I lost my shit. I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. I could have my fantasy, and I can have my scattered around dudes, and no one's on blocks. And that was just sort of an excuse to start buying a lot of fantasy stuff. And my hopes and dreams were to make fantasy warbands for all the different factions. And then Town Crier was coming out, and they were doing those magazines with all the different warbands in them, and it was just like I was in hog heaven. I was able to play 40K with my buddies. I was able to play Mordheim with my buddies, and some of my friends did play fantasy, and I just didn't. This was a way to kind of, share in the fantasy world together. And then fast forward to Age of Sigmar. So I never got into fantasy, but I collected a lot of it because I had these ideas that I was going to make all these different warbands and make new scenarios. And once I started to really understand all the rules and the characteristics of the models, maybe sort of make my own 40K version of fantasy. You know how we always think, or at least I do. I don't know if other people do. I don't know. But you always go, oh, I want to sort of tweak this and make it my own. And, you know, that's one of my problems. I get so hung up in wanting to convert it and customize it and make the game my very own game as opposed to what just they make, and just play it for what it is, you know? There's nothing wrong with that. It's just that once you start going down that path, you really start to narrow your audience of people that are going to be willing to play, because you're no longer playing a game that's designed. Anyone can pick up a book and you can sit down in a store and play a random stranger. You've got all these weird special rules and different, yeah. So anyhow, so fast forwarding, so I'm trying to stay on track to Age of Sigmar. So End Times happened, and Age of Sigmar happened, and Age of Sigmar was sort of a, when it first came out, I was just like, all right, let's do this. And then the eBay went nuts. I was just picking up armies left, right, and center, because people were just selling stuff because they were done. They were like, F this game. I don't want to do round bases and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, yes. It was the golden age for me. Not for my PayPal account, but for me. It was the golden age. And I picked up a ridiculous amount of fantasy stuff. And yeah, it was awesome. For stupid cheap. And so I did all that. And I was really looking forward to it, playing the game. I downloaded all the PDF stuff. Sorry, my mind's going faster than my mouth. So picked up all, or downloaded all the PDFs, and I was just like, cool, let's start playing this. I always liked the Beastmen, so I started playing Beastmen, and my buddy was always a Lizardman player, so we started playing Beastmen, Lizardmen, and I did Skaven too. I like the Skaven a lot, but Beastmen were my bag. So then as the game started to develop, I'm just looking up there at the books. You know, the first thing we saw were, I believe, the Sylvaneth was the first new army in Age of Sigmar. I could be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure it was Sylvaneth. And I liked it. I didn't see anything wrong with it. It just looked like, you know, the hybrid elf dryad people. That was cool. You know, it was still very much fantasy to me. And you know, the tree men guys, I forgot what they're called, the guys with the bows, Kurnoth hunters, they just look like the treekin. You know, they were just better models of the treekin, is really what they were to me. Obviously, they're more, you know, humanoid looking in terms of the treekin were totally like wild, like my hair right now. They were just kind of out of control tree branch model monsters. And the Kurnoth hunters were a little more streamlined. But I mean, they just look like tree men to me, pretty much. Or, excuse me, treekin. So that didn't faze me at all. I was just like, that's cool, man. That's happening. And then, you know, we got the Fire Slayers. The little metal embedded into people was a little strange, but, you know, it is what it is. And then we got the dwarves, the Caradron overlords. And, you know, then we started, the game just started to feel a little, like it was going in a wrong direction for me, aesthetically. And it's not that I don't like the game at all, and it's not that I don't like the models at all. It's just, I started buying fantasy in the 90s because I loved the look of that sort of Tolkien-esque flavor, essentially, of that fantasy. That type of fantasy was what attracted me to that genre, and that's why I bought that stuff. And then now it's starting to go a little into 40K, and not in the sense that, you know, it's science fiction-y, you know, last cannons and crazy stuff like that. I'm sure they're going to keep it very much. I mean, the new Deepkin are a perfect example. They don't look 40K at all. Sorry, my cat keeps jumping. from table to table. So the new Deepkin don't look 40k-ish at all, but they definitely don't look kind of like the Tolkien-y fantasy. And so I've slowly kind of feel like I'm divorcing myself from the aesthetic of where Age of Sigmar is going. At first, when it was a mystery and people didn't know what was happening, you know, I liked the idea of these realm gates and all that stuff. And then as these books came out and they talk more and more about it, it was just kind of like, you know, I get it. I mean, they're making it so anything is possible, which is awesome because there's probably going to be armies in the future that I'm just going to 100% buy into, you know, without a question. And it's not like I'm not going to want to play someone who has the Deepkin because I don't want to fight sharks that hover above the ground. And I'm sure they're going to explain why that is a thing. And it doesn't bother me. It's like, well, you know, we're playing with giant beetles and tree people. So, you know, and I've got goats. I mean, I'm basically running with a pack of goats, and some of my goats are riding on discs of Tzeentch, and others goats of mine are, you know, their guts are pouring out of them, and they have, yeah, it's just, I get it, you know, but, so, and it's kind of interesting because when I was going through the community thing, the article, and I was looking at all the stuff as it came, you know, Deepkin were there, and I watched the video, I watched it a few more times, and I was just like, huh, you know, and I started to just kind of, in my head, process everything, and then I scrolled down to the bottom, and it said the Warhammer Legends thing, and I was like, sweet! And what I like about that is, well, first of all, I'm not a competitive player. I haven't been I haven't cared about whether, I mean, I've chose beastmen as my army, so obviously I'm not very much of a competitive player. But, you know, where was I going? My brain went way faster than my mouth. So I saw, oh, Warhammer Legends, I saw that and I was like, yes, you know, and that was sort of my, that's the world I want to live in. You know, I want to live, or at least play in, I guess, with my fantasy stuff. My 40k, I'll still play 40k, but yeah, with my fantasy, I think that's going to be the world that I live in, and I'm not worried because they're like, oh, we're not going to do matched play, and I don't care. I haven't yet played a matched play game of Age of Sigmar, and I've been playing since July of 20. What did it come out in 2015, 2016? It was 2015. God, that's going quick. So, yeah, I still haven't played a match play game, and I don't care to. One of the things I would like to see a little bit, because one of the things about just doing the I put something down, you put something down, I put something down, you put something down, is that when you're, especially when you're playing against someone new, they have a tendency to just want to keep putting stuff down. And, you know, you could do something where 40k has the like power levels, which I think is just a really great middle ground between just plopping stuff on the table and having just this meticulous rundown of every single, this knife costs 1 point and this gun costs 2 points, you know, and I cost 15 points. Yeah, that's just too much for me. I'm sorry, but, you know, and I get it that people like doing that. That's the thing. And, you know, but to me, it's just, yeah, having fun, throwing some models on the table and having a good laugh for the evening. So, when Warhammer Legends came out, I keep going off track. I'm sorry. We're 18 minutes into this. I was just stoked. I was like, this is perfect because from my understanding is that they're going to be doing every faction that the fantasy. Now, 19 minutes into it, we're actually going to be talking about what this video is about. Good job. So they're actually going to be doing, from what I understand, is rules for every faction that was in Warhammer Fantasy to make them more on par with some of the newer stuff, because it makes there's a little blurb in the community thing that says so you can pitch your legacy or whatever they call it, legend armies, and put them up against current Age of Sigmar stuff. So I'm assuming, you know, we're gonna get like Morgor back and just all the Beastmen characters, and you know, it'd be awesome if they did like other stuff too that they never actually made models or rules for, but I highly doubt they'll do that, but whatever. And I haven't looked in all the old fantasy army books, so I'm not sure if they even did that back in the day. Like Slug Tongue, and he was the Golden Bull guy, the Minotaur Lord who just lost his shit and died in the street. Covered in blood, came back as a giant chromed out or gold plated out or brassed out Doom Bowl of Doom. Anyway, that guy would be sick to have him. But yeah. I'm already excited. So you know, it's going to be cool because they're going to go back and they're going to be doing all these legacy armies, and apparently they're going to sort of coincide that with the made to order thing. So that'll be cool. I could pick up some stuff that I'd missed, or you know, certain models, or especially when the Tomb Kings come out and they go back and they redo the Ushabti. I'll definitely pick up more of those because right now they're coming down. You know, they hit their peak and then they're coming down in price, but they're still pretty pricey on eBay and stuff. So this stuff I'll pick up and you know, it'll be pretty awesome. Hopefully they'll start doing Mordheim stuff too. That'd be cool. But yeah, so that's pretty much what Warhammer Legends is all about, is just sort of bringing up to date some of the rules. I'm guessing from the PDFs that we all downloaded back in the July of 2015 off the website. They're going to be making those more competitive in some regard because a lot of the stuff sucks, and I'll be honest about it, you know. And as for Age of Sigmar itself, you know, the game is going to go the way the game is going to go, and I am both excited and don't care about it, but I'm not upset by any stretch of the imagination. You know, run, just go, you know, do your thing, put out your models. I'll choose to partake or not, regardless. Oh, but another thing I forgot to mention is Shadespire. And Shadespire is a nice sort of, for me anyway, I think Shadespire is going to be, because I'm sure they're going to do a Deepkin Shadespire warband. I'm sure they're going to do, who are other ones? Probably a Caradron, I don't know how to say them. Caradron Overlords one. You know, I'm sure they're going to do stuff like that. They might even do a Witch Elves one, Daughters of Cain. And I'll definitely buy those because it's not like I said, I'm not against those models. I just don't want to do the army, and that world doesn't tickle my fancy. So, but I do like the models, and buying 5 or 6 models and some cards, spending $30 would be totally, I'd be down for that for sure. And you know, my taste for the game might change over time. I might get bored of, you know, old school castles and ruined cottage villages and playing out in fields and stuff like that, and want to get more into the crazy floating terrain and, you know, realm gatey stuff and kind of that weird. It's just, I mean, Age of Sigmar is all over the place, and that's cool. You know, it's cool that it's all over the place, but it's like it's not, like I said earlier, you know, it's not the fantasy that attracted me to Warhammer Fantasy. And you know, if I, let's put it this way, it's a good way to look at it. If there was 40K, if there was Warhammer Fantasy, and if there was, or Kings of War, that's something that's current, right? So if there was, you've got 40K, Kings of War, and Age of Sigmar, as of today, if I just found out about this hobby, I'd be all about 40k and Kings of War, and I probably wouldn't even, I'd see the fishmen, I'd see the floating dwarves on the, and I'd just be like, it's just kind of, I mean, it's cool, but I'm all about this, you know. Obviously, I wouldn't play Kings of War because it's blocks, and I'm not into that. But I'm just saying aesthetically, if I saw all these models, and just had a couple of books, art books, that had just nothing but pictures, I would be like, yep, I like that Kings of War thing because it'd be that more of that look that I like. And I probably wouldn't even look into Age of Sigmar. But knowing what I know, the history I have with the game, and the fact that they're doing Warhammer Legends just is phenomenal. It's very, very, very exciting for me in particular. And I guess I wanted to make a video to tell the world that I am excited about it because goddamn, it's going to be awesome. And I know there's going to be others that feel the same way as I do. Oh, and here's another thing too. Boom. And I think also this may, I mean, I don't know, because maybe the hardcore Warhammer Fantasy players don't want to give up their blocks, which is fine, and but maybe doing the Legends thing, might get more of those people that completely said F Age of Sigmar, might get them playing Age of Sigmar with their Legend rules, because they're like, hey, let's make it a balanced rule, whatever, points thingy, so they can have their points and they can do their competitions with each other. Because the rules are official, it's just the points aren't official. But like that whole Ninth Age thing, none of that's official. It's just a bunch of people that said it's going to be official, and now a bunch of people are playing it. So, what this may also do is it's going to get a lot of fantasy people, at least I think, playing the game with the Age of Sigmar rules. And then over time, my guess is they're going to be like tired of playing their friends with their house rules, and they're going to be like, you know what, I need to just buy into, because I like the way the game plays, because the game plays amazingly, and they're just going to be like, I'm going to buy this army for Age of Sigmar, like a current army, and then that's sort of their bridge. It weans them over, so yeah, so, which is cool. There's nothing wrong with that. If anything, is everything right about that, because we're going to get more people in the community and things like that. So, but what I'm excited about too is that all those people that do want to start playing fantasy again, at least with that aesthetic, with the Warhammer Legends thing, because they're probably going to make, I'm sure they're going to make some things amazing. Leon Lewencoeur is probably going to be a beast, and as he should be, and I mean, he's not that bad now if you don't compare him to like Skyfires and things like that. If you put him against a beastmen army, he's amazing. Bunch of Ungor just sits there and chops him up. But no, I mean, it's gonna be cool to see them actually spend a little time and give, for one, the old school fantasy players something a little more thought out, and something that they can field against people who might have current armies and sort of hold their own. Obviously, there's not going to be a points thing, but like Tom from Warhammer World or Warhammer Weekly and Vince said, that people out there are going to make points. So there's no question about it, that the points will be there. And I'll just jump on to whatever they do. If there's ever a time I need to play my beastmen against a stranger, I'll just be like, hey, I got these internet points. You know, we're not playing for money, so it doesn't really matter because, yeah, it's who cares? I'll buy you a beer, you know, and so anyway, yeah, very, very excited about Warhammer Legends, and through all the release talk about the Plastic Sisters, the new Dreadnoughts, the Deepkin, Shadespire, Warbands. I think I've got them all. I think that was everything they talked about. Yeah, super. Oh, and they announced some new codexes for the Eldar, Harlequins, and I don't know, the next 3 codexes. But Warhammer Legends, it's gonna be I'm gonna use it because this is perfect. You guys ever watch that TV show How I Met Your Mother? Legendary. It's legendary. So Warhammer Legends is gonna be legendary. Very excited about it. And that's about it. I was gonna do another video too. Maybe I'll do it after this. Kind of not feeling in the mood though. I gotta go do some house crap before I leave for my training. But the new White Dwarf with the Marathi model. Boom. There's a little thing in here about gene stealer cults in Necromunda, and I'm all about that. And yeah, I probably should make a video because I'm way too excited about it to not make a video. And I just like sharing my little world with the rest of the world, or whoever wants to listen to what I'm thinking about in, you know, my head. So, you know, and then I also think about it like one day when I'm dead, I'm wondering if they'll keep all the YouTube videos up and then people can go back and be like, you know, like you're watching stuff like certain channels or whatever will become sort of like, does it become public domain after, like, wasn't the birthday song with the Beatles like a thing where they owned it, but then Michael Jackson owned it or something? And not the Beatles birthday song, the reggae Happy Birthday, and then it becomes public domain. I don't know. But like, can you imagine like certain YouTube people, like once they're dead and gone for a long time, people rediscovering them and being like, this is awesome. And then doing like cult followings, like Rocky Horror Picture Show kind of thing, where people get together and they watch a bunch of old videos of this one dead person that was ahead of their time at the time, and then people were wearing shirts, and I don't know, it'd be kind of cool. Not that I'm ever gonna do anything to that extent, but I always think about that, or I don't always think about it. It crosses my mind. So anyhow, I think that's it. I think that I talked about everything. The Warhammer Legends is coming, and I'm very excited about it. And now I've shared it, and I've gotten it out of me. So now I got to focus on getting all my shit together so I can go and survive for the next 4 weeks, and I'll come back a bigger, better person with more training. So I guess that's it. Thanks guys for watching, listening. See you on the next one, I guess.